Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. I've got an interesting video today, Hedera and Algorand in one video. So these are obviously powerhouses in the blockchain crypto sphere, and I often do individual videos on these particular companies and technologies. But it's been really interesting news come out in the last few hours actually, coordinating a collaboration between these two chains. It's around account recovery aspects. So we're going to go in a bit more detail on that in a second. But first of all, I just want to talk about it as a topic in general, because at the moment in our minds, decentralization has obviously been a topic around for a long time, since the dawn of Bitcoin, arguably. And to compare this with the centralized format in terms of perhaps losing security passwords and things like this, you would typically, in a bank situation, have a good, easy opportunity to be able to go to your bank and say, look, I've lost my password, I forgot my password, I need access. And that's usually reverted, to be honest, in the digital world these days through the app, email verifications, numbers, two-way authentication, etc. In the decentralized world, or majority of the crypto world, we get a bit stuck sometimes, or have the opportunity to be stuck. In the sense, if you got a ledger, for example, you would have mnemonic words, you would have a PIN code, and traditionally you would write those down, put them somewhere safe. And there are some instances where we've seen across the world where people have lost them. Now, Ledger is slightly different more recently in the sense, if you remember the announcement, I think last year, where they had an ability to be able to access accounts in certain ways outside that remit of what we perceived to be something almost impenetrable in terms of security and privacy, etc. However, there are some instances, and I'll use a personal experience here. So those that haven't followed the channel for very long, I used to do a lot of videos around HBAR Proton. They had the Proton app, Proton wallet on the smartphone, and I had quite a good amount on there. And it was around the bull cycle time of 2021. I was very excited that was growing in my account, good staking opportunities, and I got a new phone. And I transferred everything across, but 2 or 3 wallets didn't go across properly. So traditionally, with the likes of wallets or even logging in exchanges, it was fairly simple: email verification, KYC, in some instances uploading ID, etc. through that KYC module or protocol. With Proton, it was a bit different. It actually associated your wallet with the private key, and that would usually transfer across as well, and mine didn't. Now, the old phone was wiped by this point and sent off to a nice recycling home. And I asked the company at the time, this is me, I can do these channel videos, etc. Can you help me? The answer was no. And rightly so in that sense, because that was the whole point of the decentralized aspect of you own your keys, you own your crypto, you own your finances. You can't necessarily always have it both ways. But there has been a bit of lapsing of this over the years with some crypto assets or native wallets. And again, back to that point about the traditional banking or anything in general, really, any kind of coordination of login or account that you might have. And in this instance, Algorand and Hedera come together to create this new kind of standardization approach. Now, I'm just going to share my screen on the browser with you guys now, and we can talk about this in a bit more detail. First and foremost, guys, if you haven't done so already, do check out the other videos on the channel, and of course, if you haven't done so, smash that subscribe button. We are flying through the numbers, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for the support. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. There's loads of new interviews up and running over the last few weeks as well, so go and enjoy those too. So this is the topic: Hedera and Algorand ecosystems join forces to form DeRec Alliance, so enabling mass market decentralized recovery. Now, there's this video here. I don't know if it actually shows on the screen. Yeah, it's a bit of a screenshot there. I highly recommend watching this. Absolutely fantastic. This CFC St. Moritz. I'll leave a link in the description. It's a brilliant video. What I absolutely loved about it is just the cohesion, not just between the individuals here from the two companies, but just the collaboration aspect. And this is what I really always loved about some of, or most of, the crypto space in general, where we could argue that a lot are doing some good, a lot are doing things for the benefit to create a better world or a better opportunity for users. Granted, of course, there's always monetary value to most things, but I just feel like it's a bit different to what we would perceive in maybe the financial markets or financial institutions that we've had for decades upon maybe even centuries in some cases. So definitely check this out. I'll leave it in the description, but it's a very good overview of exactly what I'm about to mention in this article. I'll try and go into as much detail as I do in the video. But the point being, and it was a critical point in the video in particular, about trying to adopt the billions of people around the world, you need a good user experience, a good interface experience as well. And this point here about Web 2, the combination of transferring yourself or integrating Web 2 to Web 3 is something that does identify so many things that you need to also transfer across for usability purposes. Because at the end of the day, it's all right to accommodate the crypto users out there like you and I, but ultimately, if you do want to transform yourself into the new remit of Web 3 and the functionalities, the solutions, the opportunities that come with that, you need to open up some of the doors of that Web 2 ethos as well. So these two are coming together essentially to bring that ethos to the table. So this DeRec aspect of it is to bring the opportunity of ownership to people, still in having in the background that decentralized orientation, but also the ability to access your account with what they call helpers. So I'll try and find the bit here in particular about this, but the idea is that, I don't know if any of you have used like WeChat or anything like this, any of these kind of apps, where if you lose access to your account, you can ask people that know you within that network to say, yes, this is me, and you need to put a code in and vice versa. So the decentralized recovery, which is what the DeRec is abbreviated to, open source protocol, standard approach to secret management based on secret sharing among a set of helpers, i.e. friends or businesses, who can assist the user to recover the secret when needed. So of course here as well about the aspect of losing their phone, two-way factor recovery devices, all these things. Exactly the kind of point that I made with my scenario. An exact example of a situation where I could probably have done with something like this. And maybe it's not too late. Maybe this kind of solution does come out and it becomes a standard across the crypto space. The other factor in this video of theirs and the topic in general was interoperability. Mentioning that no matter what different apps you've got, if you've got apps on your smartphone and vice versa, the fact of the matter is they all work with each other and they have the ability for you to go and find the detail that you need to get back into the access point, whether that's then sending to your email being encrypted or safeguarded, etc. It's exactly the same principle as what can potentially happen in the Web3 crypto space as well, and in this wallet orientation. So I think this is absolutely fantastic to some extent. There's a dilemma in my head still that you've gone down this path as a crypto user, but ultimately if you want crypto to work, or indeed the interoperable aspect of blockchain in general, and you need the cryptography element to work, and you want those prices to rise because more people are using them or utility is rising, to bring those big numbers of people in, bear in mind the different variables in demographics, etc., everything that you can think of word-wise, coming into the fruition of this market. It needs to happen ultimately, and it's always that principle I've always kind of said in various different articles that I've had to write or different channels that I've been on, etc., that the ultimate aspect of adoption does require you to also be accessible. The whole point of crypto arguably is to help the financial world, help people in general. Well, that was one of the main ideas of it anyway. Not sure if it will continue to go down that route for much longer, but the accessibility wording is the big imperative point there. Because you're going to have a load of people in there that don't necessarily want to know about crypto. They don't want to know about blockchain. They just want to know that it works. Or if I've got something on my phone, I can just use it instantly. I don't need to log into wallets, have my own keys or anything like this. It just works. So there's that element. But for those that do want the aspect of holding on to things that they feel responsible and want to fully own with keys, again, that danger point of potentially losing that forever does frighten you. and if your values of your monetary values of your assets that you're holding within these are going up significantly in the future, or indeed if you're looking to plan to use this maybe even as a pension fund and things like this in the future, it becomes even more imperative to try and safeguard them in another way, another safer way to get access just in case. So I'm swinging more towards, at the moment, this concept. I think it's really interesting. I'd like to know your thoughts and feelings on this in the comments below. But that's very much the gist of the topic. Don't want to go into too much detail because that video is absolutely fantastic. Go check it out. I'm just giving you a bit of an overview, a top overview of what this was about. But let's actually take this opportunity to look at both the assets chart-wise in the market at the moment. There's obviously been some relatively big moves in the market in general, especially with the BTC ETFs being approved this week. It hasn't had too much of an effect on other assets over the last couple of days, but we're just going to start off here with Algorand, which is currently floating around this 20-cent mark. We saw these higher regions around 25 cents, and I think in previous videos I did mention that I've still got buy orders back around this 14-cent mark, and I think hopefully my 17-cent one came in because I didn't do it the first time around, but I thought actually this is a good area of dollar cost averaging, considering I sold a lot at that 22-24 cent mark as well. So we might see that come down to lower towards those 14-cent marks again. We'll have to see. There's a lot of momentum still to go for the rest of this year before I truly believe the bull market towards the end of this year will occur. So this is where we are at the moment. You can clearly see there's opportunities for retesting at these lower regions, and I do anticipate, in my mind, it's my personal opinion, not financial advice, that we will still come to try and test those 16 to 14 cent regions again, only really because of previous data points which we mentioned in previous videos. You can go check those out for more detail, but you can clearly see there's a lack of data, a lack of support mechanisms at these particular areas, which is why I'm still fixated on the fact that it might be a bit of a dream in my mind, but I still believe that we're going to see some action around this area in the near future, whether that's in a few weeks time or a couple months time, doesn't really matter. I still think that it's going to come in at some point, but even if it doesn't, that's where the DCA strategy kicks in, and that's where we've been winning on the upward trend and the downward trend in similar fashion. So the only other point to really make at this moment in time, as we see a bit more stability over the last few days, is the RSIs are tracking quite nicely. I'm just going to pull this up so we can see that in a bit more detail. You see at the moment the 14 days showing 48, 20 days at 53. So unless it comes back again down towards these markers, which I've already got limit orders for, to be honest, just under that 17-cent mark, I'm not going to pay too much attention just yet until we see those RSIs coming roughly to around 42, 43 on the 14-day and around about 45, 47 on the 20-day respectively as well. So let's keep an eye on that one for sure. Let's have a quick look at Hedera hash graphs, HBAR token as well. Not too dissimilar patterns, to be honest, that we're seeing across the board here. This is currently flowing a rough price point out of the recording, 8.3 cents. We had previous highs here around 10 cents or so on the 3rd of January, the beginning of the month. This, of course, tailed off as people have seen there's a lot of over purchasing going on here since around the October period. And that has been a very, very nice ride indeed. I was very much happy to be taking advantage of price points around those sort of 4 to 5 cent marks. It's not too far off to where it is right now, to be honest, because in the grand scheme of things, we could argue that there is a long way to go before we get to those previous all-time highs all the way up here at 57 cents. To reiterate that point, as I made before, we could just drop in really quickly a price range chart here, if I can find one. Uno momento. I always forget where all of my things are gone. But yeah, the point being is that we've got a really long way to go before we can get back up to those previous all-time highs. So I'll just take that current position there, and I'm just going to zap up to the top here where we are. We're currently just here, so around about there. Previous all-time high is still a good 500% up, and we're expecting to smash through that hopefully in the next bull run, whenever that may be, towards that $1 mark, arguably, and in my opinion should theoretically do that based on adoption, based on the things around the world and the development of Hedera over the years. It should be definitely possible. So if I just drag that up really quickly to the top there, you're talking about a near enough 1000% gain from the current price point. In fact, I didn't drop it down properly. So yeah, around about 1,000 or so percent nearly. But if we drag that back down to maybe one of the price points that could come in over the next couple of months, it does make it even healthier than that for sure. So again, like we do with Algorand, just checking in on the indicators here, you can see they are floating around the similar points that Algorand is in. The markets overall are in very good, healthy positions. You can see that they're starting to stabilize around these areas that they have done so for the last couple of months. So there's still definitely opportunity for new entry points, or at least those trade positions in DCA averaging, to get those positions at the various different levels. And we can clearly see here as well that it couldn't quite push through that barrier at 10 cents a couple of weeks ago, hitting those medium term fib retracement levels. It's now balanced itself back. We're very much toying around with this sort of 7.9 cent mark, and this one in the mid level here as well at 8.5. So I anticipate that to be a bit of a bobble effect over the next week or so, unless of course there's a crazy crash or something like this. We just have to be on the ball with some limit orders. If you don't know what those are, or you would like some help or thoughts around that, I can definitely do a video to showcase how limit orders work and how I work those in my strategy, because they've been working for me for a long time, and they're definitely worthwhile if you have struggle maybe for time for management, or perhaps daily access to your accounts to check or put your own orders in manually. It's definitely a worthwhile strategy to put in place to not miss the overnight things that may happen, or things when you're at work, etc., and you just end up getting really frustrated. So let me know if you'd like a video on that. I'll definitely get that put together. And final point here, guys, just on Hedera. I mean, it's been a fantastic year so far. The year to date is not too amazing, but that again falls into the palm of my hand of what I just said. I think we're going to get a lot of stability over the next few weeks, and definitely some retests of some lower areas. We've had a lot of over purchasing. We're going to now get not necessarily a lack of confidence. We get a lot of people sitting there, maybe having that stagnant feeling that actually, maybe the movements have finished now. I'll drop that off, wait for some lower positions, and then not expecting a huge spike unless there's a market crash based on variables of macro events around the world or something. But the point being is that there's definitely opportunity at those lower areas. So that's very much my quick points here on Hedera and Algorand, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below about what we talked about as the topic discussion, and also anything around the price points for these tokens. And I think it's a bit too early in the year for me personally to be talking about predictions, but if anyone has any idea what they think they will see in this next bull run, whenever that might be, what we could see as targets, do chuck them in, and I will start in the next few months putting those in on the charts and see who gets the nearest for sure. But guys, thanks very much for watching this one. We'll see you in the next crypto update video. Take care. Bye bye.